You got, looks like there was some hedge funds that acquired some stake in this. I don't know if that really means anything per se, because the market cap on this is so low. I mean, I don't know if acquiring a 5% stake means anything, but in this market, it's it's a market that likes to get pumped. So, there's something like this could be in play, but that's not really my, particular cup of tea. I think there's just going to be some easier ones. I think there's going to be some easier ones out there so far. So let's see what we can do. So we got ZM out today. So this might actually be, this might be too big of a gap. I don't think I'll probably play this unless, it pulled back like, a considerable amount. I mean, I'd have to see this thing pull back to, we need a significant pull. I mean, because it's not really the 37%, which is quite a bit. It's more a matter that things up like 120 points. Yeah, we're gonna have to let this thing pull back. I'd keep it on the list, but we're gonna need a monster cock pullback on that one. We can't, you just can't shred it up that high. All right, oh man, see this market's already, I think, starting to fade off a little bit here. So if you look here, hold on. See that? You cracked a little bit of support here. They're not even gonna give us a chance to let me finish this so I can participate. All right, let's Docu. So I think Docu might be in play today. Its earnings are out in 2 days. Its earnings are out in 2 days. I believe this one's popping based on the ZM. They're all running these are right. These are the opposite of coronavirus. These things are thriving because of the coronavirus. I'd actually keep that on watch too. I'd put this thing right on that gapper list too. This one may be a little bit of an easier play than ZM. If they're going to run together, then this one's got probably, less of a chase on it. So you see this crowd. You see here, this is 120. Man, I actually think this might be a short today. I was looking at this for even potentially short yesterday. You got the candle completely outside the upper Bollinger Band on this, and you're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, 2 rest days, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 out of 16 up days in a row. I think this one is actually, I'd add that to the list. I think this one's probably going to be a fader. If the market fades off a little bit today, I think that one's going to be a fader. Home, nothing. IPO, nothing. BLMN, nothing. So, see this work? This is another one. Normally, you get a gap on this, you'd think, and a lot of this is, when ZM started to pop, all these kind of work from home things, so that's Slack, your DocuSign, all the ones that have been running for the work on home theme, they've all started to gap up, So now, this one's sitting at resistance, and you're on day 7 of the move. You can't really long it. So you're on day 7 of the move. You're sitting at resistance. This is another one that screams of probably fading back the gap. When you're a little bit extended and then you go into resistance, those are prime time. Those are prime time. Gap fade kind of moves. I'd probably leave this, I wouldn't try to long something like this. And gap fades are very, very, they're very, very tricky type of setup. So for 99% of people, it's not the easy one. But I think that one's, I'd lean more towards, actually, shredding that short at some point if the market rolls back over. CVAC, I don't know about this one. Did anybody see any news on this thing? I didn't see anything. So Penzilla got an upgrade today. Penn got an upgrade today, and was like from some no-name analyst, and he said potential $200 target in the next couple years. This thing is starting to fly off on this thing. It is at a bounce point, so if you see like from its big breakout here over 40, it hasn't come back and tested the 20 SMA the whole time. This one actually may have a chance to, this one probably has a chance to bounce today. I'd wait and see if this thing pulls at the open. Like, I'd add that to the shred zone. I think this one's got a chance. Like, it's not too big of a gap right now. If this thing pulls back and holds a little bit at the open, I think this one's going to have a chance. Silver's popping too. This is a swing trade, though. You know, this thing's been flying for a couple days. I think this thing busts loose. I got some silver contracts on the futures side that are looking zesty, but you know, it's hard to day trade because it goes on gaps from the overnight action. But like silver is something, like silver and gold right now, like you want to be a part of these in some manner on dips because like you held the supports here and you have imminent breakouts coming on these. Now the issue on these is that, you know, they move on gaps, so when they happen like that, like, you know, you're either got to be playing these pre-market or, you know, overnight. Russia, Nintendo, pins. So like you can see, like, see how like this pins is at, you know, all-time highs here or getting close to it. But the big hairy butt of it is that, you know, it's up too many days in a row. So if you get a breakout and you're like shredding like, you know, 5-6 days in a row, then you're usually tired going into the breakout. Like they just don't have the heat that you need. Big C down 4%. You know what? This Big C had a nice squeeze like off yesterday's lows. I'd keep an eye on this. Like if you pull back into like the, I would say anywhere from like 106 to 110 and you start to hold, I'd try to squeeze this thing. I'd try to re-squeeze this thing. I think that like you could have a chance at you know, catching like a decent long on this. My thinking on this one is as long as it holds over this 105 area, like it's still considered bullish because that was like the old breakout spot. If it could sit there and hold, like there's a shot that this dump here, which most of it happened on a downgrade, right? This move happened on a downgrade. It was like 6 downgrades all at once. As long as that 105, 104, 106 zone holds, this one's going to have a chance to, this one's going to probably have a chance to get rebounded up. It does trade a little bit thin. If you've probably seen this one, there's a spread on it. So you can't necessarily, you know, you can't necessarily get any huge size. Like, I mean, it's maybe like, you know, 300, 400 shares max, depending on your account size, or, you know, 50 to, you know, whatever. But you don't want to necessarily go in like too crazy on it. I think we try to bounce this one later if it pulls. So it's down about $4. I need one more big flush. Hopefully, if the market can pull back a little bit, then we'll get that kind of flush that we need to get this thing down into that zone, and then we'll go. Yeah, I was short a little Tesla earlier today. I think a big chunk of the Tesla short is done though. It was at 540, and now like you're starting to roll over red. So I do think there's a short in here. I mean, you got $60 move to, you got a $60 move into the 9 EMA. So you got like a little bit, but you can't chase it low at the open right now. You know, the play was really to kind of hit this thing, you know, around 530, and then there was a play around 515. Yeah, this thing, if it squeezes back up a little bit, like, you know, this move may be digested a little bit. I'd see at the open, if this thing starts to pop back up to 515, 520, and then look for lower highs, you know, look for that kind of rollover, and I think you'll have a shot at it. But I wouldn't chase it down this low because you can see it's already down 2%. But the main thing is it's down 50 points Its main thing is it's down like 50 points from its high. So I think that easy short's going to be over. Wait for a little bit of a push on Shill and then, see if it starts to roll. Because unless you were up early, the early bird gets the worm on these. When they get the dilutions, you can see like that's already, that's 50 points on the dot already. Now let's just take a look at the regular watches. So you got ZM.Q, Crowd, Work, Pen. Crowd and Work are more leaning towards short. Yeah, the market will sell off. Market is due for a gap, a little bit of a gap pull. It seems like a lot of these kind of moves are happening in the pre-market. Before it'd be like the market opened up and then we'd be able to shred it when the market actually opens. But a lot of the moves have been happening in the pre-market. I hate trading pre-market, but lately, sadly, I've had to get up and do it. Alright, now let's take a look at the regular watch list here. I got this FLGT. This was a $53 stock. Pulled back into the 50 SMA. I think this one's in a bounce zone here till we've got maybe room to 36.40. Bounce zone over there. Fiverr's looking like a breakout. This one's actually more of a swing trade setup. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing cook into the 150s. This one's got a lot of heat on it. You can't day trade it because it doesn't have enough volume. Right now, what I'm looking for is more bounce plays because a lot of the stocks are extended. You see this Etsy? This is a nice bounce play. You got a move down to the 50 SMA. You got to move down to the 50 SMA. And now, I think you're going to start to curl its way back. A lot of these are getting a little bit long in the tooth. I like this one. I like this one a lot. Workhorse. This is going to be a little bit tricky because I've noticed that on this particular one, you always get one shred on one day and then the second days can often stink. If you look here, there's a level here at 1875. There's a level here at 1875. All right? If it can break over it at the open, I can take it. If you try to take this and it's under that level, if you try to take it and it's under that level, it could chop around. So what you want to do is if this thing opens up and let the market pull and do what it's got to do. But once it opens up, if it starts to hold, watch these levels around here 18 and then 1775, okay? Let it pull a little bit. If it starts to hold and build, now watch for the rebound. Once it takes out 1875, it's going to be clean. So there's two aspects of when you get a little bit of a range. You either got to get in the low end of the range and then let it start to scoop it at the low end of the range and kind of sell it into spikes till it breaks out. Or if you're just a breakout trader, you just wait. Only above 1875 you take a trade. Anything below you leave alone. So you get either at the low end of the range or the break of the top end of the range. But the worst part of when you're in a range is when you try to buy in the middle. Because you're not at support and you're not at breakout. So you end up just being a penis in the middle. Penis in between us. And that's no good. I think Shill's still got another shot at this. It could use one rest day to let these catch up here. You got a 42. So you got two levels to kind of be thinking about here. But this 42-ish zone, and a breakout is never an exact spot. Because you always have tails and little middle fingers sticking up. But 42 is a little bit of a spot. It was rejected off of it yesterday. If you start to break over 42, then that's probably what's going to take it into the next one. Now Roku ended up red yesterday and ended up having a monster run, into the close. We've got a spot here right at 177. With all these kind of random tech stocks just that have been sitting and hitting breakout levels exploding. If Roku takes out that 177.50-ish zone, Like, I think this one's going to have a good shot to keep going. It is getting a little bit long in the tooth, but it's not crazy extended yet. I still think, there's two aspects on this one. If you get any big dips on this, watch and see how it holds around yesterday's support. Or you want to hit this thing as it gets over 177. If you try to play it too much in the middle of the range, then Harrison Zucker, I don't know what the fuck that means, but you can bite me. How about that? Now, RKT. RKT. Now, Harrison, I'm just messing with you. RKT. You got yourself, boom, 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 boom. 29.50 is the breakout spot. 27 is the support. So there's two aspects on this one too. Any kind of dips at the open towards 27, we can shred it up. If it breaks 29.50, there's two aspects of it. Now the earnings are out today, so it may make some type of push today. It may make some type of push today at some point. I know, Harrison. I miss you too. I know. It's the Indian people are very annoying. You know how we are. 27 is support. 29.50 is a breakout. So you're opening up a little bit in the range. If the market fades off a little bit and you get a chance to scoop this thing near 27, you can put a stop loss under it and kind of push it back into the 29s. Otherwise, you got to wait till it breaks out. Now, this one could act herky-jerky because you have earnings out tomorrow. It may not necessarily have anything. AMD. This was actually a nice breakout yesterday, and it was it was a tight breakout. So you're only on day 2. This is one of the few stocks that's not extended. This is one of the few stocks that's not extended. So you're going to have any kind of pull on this towards 88, 89. I think this one's going to have a chance. If not, right, a bust over 92.60, those are your two aspects of it. This one's got room to run, by the way. It just started its move. So you had after its big earnings push, you had a 1-month consolidation. So you've tightened up the range, you've rested. Now you're starting to break out over it. That one's going to have a chance to go. I like that one a lot. API. This is one of the last few kind of tech software stocks that's on a bottom. I've been sitting there staring at this thing for now a week. I've got alerts at 49.50 and 50. If it breaks over 50, I think this one's going to be cooking and booking. Chug, 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 chug. Chug, chug, chug. Now I want one more. This is actually one I do kind of like here. If I get one more down day on this one, I think this play is going to have a chance. You're starting to come out of a big base here. You've had kind of a little couple rest days over here. If you can kind of do a little bit of a marination station over 1625, I think that this one's going to have a chance to go. You have pretty much half the float shorted on this thing. When you get, there's only a handful of stocks that are even in this price range anymore, right? Everything's been on just a monster run. But half the float is short, and there's only 30 million in float. So you got, very thin float. Half of them are short. If this thing starts to build, you could get a mega squeeze on this one. You can see, this thing just was 23.56, and this thing was just 23.56 a couple days ago. That one's going to have a chance. So that's the list. ZM, Docu, Crowd, Work, Pen are the faves. Roku, Workhorse, secondary plays. Add AMD to that list. And then, yes, we'll look for spots on Tesla. I think that, easy short is over on it. That was in the pre-market. Now you gotta let this thing, marination station. Let it pop and, do what it's got to do. Actually, I don't know necessarily anything about options. So, maybe that's good. Maybe it's bad. I don't know. This BYD does have a chance. It's been a very, very tricky trader. To me, this is probably more of a swing trade stock. It's just been a tricky trader. It has been a little bit of a tricky trader. It's still got a chance if it breaks over 140, 138, 140. It has a chance to hold. But I don't know if this is like a priority for me because I just think it's a tricky trader. There's some charts, they can have like the best, they can have the look, they can have the feel, they can have the shared characteristics, but they just stink to trade. And I think that's like this is one of these. Now there's a couple spec plays that, we should keep an eye on. This AUVI so this has only got 1 million share float on it. But this thing, we were fucking around with this thing yesterday. I hate small caps, and this one's got a monster spread on it. But this thing ran a double in like 30, 40 minutes, and it looks like, from what I can gather, it looks like these guys got like some device that it's like UV spray. I thought like sunlight stuff that like supposedly kills coronavirus. So this could be like the kind of tour de jour of today, like the spec play. This could be the spec play on it. Yeah, I think FNGU's like, I watch this one all the time. It needs a pull. I mean, this thing, it just needs a pull. It doesn't do that much volume, so it's just not a good day trader for me. It does like 800, 900,000 shares. But this one definitely needs like a big pullback. Repay, huh? RPay. I'm not familiar. Hey, so this one, like, it's really thin on, it's a little bit thin on volume for me. But if it does come out as consolidation, that looks like a swing trade, actually. This actually looks pretty good. Whoever just sent that. D-round. So that's the list. I'm sticking to it. Gamestop has been nice, but it's up too many days in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row. Always remember, if you can stick 2 thumbs between where the 9 EMAs and the stock is, it's probably extended. Rock and roll. All right, that's the list. We're sticking to it.